Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life.
Hey guys. Well, I got this John Deere in the shop for repair. And, you know, when they talk about John Deere quality, and, you know, I hear about people being dyed in the wool, John Deere green underwear, green shirts, green everything. You know, maybe on some stuff that holds true, but on a John Deere L120, which is what I'm working on, quality is not job one. You know, I know that's not, I think that's what Ford says, but on a John Deere, quality is bullshit as far as I'm concerned. I've got a Husqvarna. I've had that Husqvarna and I've used that for over 600 hours now, and I don't have the issue that this John Deere has. Basically what this John Deere has is excessive toe out. And I'll tell you what happens when you get toe out. You get push. So when both wheels are turned like this, and the other one is like this, basically you're kind of snow plowing, or you're plowing basically. And it makes turning that wee little steering wheel extremely freaking tough. The only way to make it so the steering is as easy as it possibly can be for this unit, and this unit doesn't have a steering box, it's got just a mechanism, a pinion, and a gear. The only way to get that as easy as possible is to have zero toe in, zero toe out, and have your tire pressure at its max allowable limit. So let me just show you what's going on. So what we got is we've got a bushing kit, John Deere bushing kit, 2 bushings per wheel, 2 wheels. That adds up to 60 bucks. And so what? So yeah, there is a lot of slop in that. You know, if you got this amount up and down, then you also have that same amount side to side. So we'll change those bushings and we'll see how much play there is left after that. But look at what else you have. You have a non-adjustable tie rod end. There is an upgrade, adjustable tie rod ends, 1 per side, 160 bucks per tax, plus tax. It's just a freaking joke that John Deere doesn't send out steering rods with adjustment, you know, tie rod ends, but they don't. So I guess you know, you can go pay your 3,000 bucks and buy yourself an L120, or actually don't make the L120 anymore. They make a D model. I can't recall what it is, but this one's got a 22 horsepower motor, and it's got a 48-inch deck. That's fairly irrelevant, although it does add weight. But anyway, so when you go to turn, you have, see all this play side to side. We're going to see how much we can take out with the bushing, but just keep this in mind. Oh, Herman's yelling at me. He says I need to get off my ass and do some work. Taking pictures, he says. Always taking pictures. Anyway, so the play in that bushing is exacerbated by this, well, I guess it's an axle. No, it's not really an axle, it's a whatever. What do they call it? It's your front suspension. It's not really a suspension, but I mean, look at the play. So when you move it, you get all the play, which is, when you look at it, it is not a ton, but it magnifies itself, right? So we got a 16th on one side, a 16th on the other side, times 2 sides, you get like a 1/4 inch overall. So a 16th and a 16th and a 16th and a 16th on the other side, that gives you 2/8, and that's a 1/4. So also, have a look under here. So that's your mechanism. Again, I told you there was no steering mechanism. Look at the play in that plate. Now I have taken as much as I physically can out of it. I ground that. There's a bolt with a shoulder in there, which another thing, getting that bolt out of there, to not have that tapped or have a nut welded onto that bottom plate is ridiculous, because getting your hand up in there with a wrench, wow. No wonder they charge, you know, 2 hours labor or 3 hours labor or whatever they charge for changing these parts. It's just nuts. Anyway, so you have that. I can't do anything more about that. Here's what I'm gonna do. If I can't get, you know, the majority of this slop out with the bushings, what I'm gonna do is, I'll show you. I have this as option number 2. Turnbuckles. So what I will do, and the customer's going to have to pay for this. I'm not going to do it on my own time, or you know, they can spend $160 and buy the adjustable tie rods, and I'll put them on. You know, probably be by the time I take that plate back off again, going to be 2 hours in, and that'll work for free. So anyway, so what I would end up doing is I'd take this turnbuckle, I'd make some adjustment out so to have in and out on that tie rod, and so I'd section out a piece. I would cut it, try to show you, I would cut it here, and on the opposing side same thing. I would then weld that turnbuckle in here, and then when you need adjustment for toe in and toe out, I would just make it up right here. You know, just turn your turnbuckle. I could make this up, but the problem is I don't have a reverse thread tap. Yeah, I should have a reverse thread tap, you're right. But I don't. I have all, you know, forward thread, standard thread taps. I got fine, coarse, metric, etc. But I don't have reverse thread taps. And you have got to have a reverse thread tap if you have 2 ends. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't work out. And you can have just one end if you like, but you got to make a full 180-degree turn, flip of the tie rod. And if you only need 90 degrees of flip, that means you're 90 degrees past where you need to actually be again. So you know, you don't really get any further ahead without having dual adjustment. So that's option 2. Like I say, I'll section out a piece of that steering rod, and I will weld that turnbuckle in, and then like I say, you'll have adjustment, and you can infinitely adjust the toe in and toe out then. And that will be the end of this problem ever again. You know, obviously bushings will wear out. Why they don't have bearings, I don't know, but they got bushings. So this unit, believe it or not, look at the plate. Let's pull this camera back. Look at the plate in that. It's just nuts, really. Anyway, look at that. Whopping. I was going to say, this unit has 250 hours on it. That's nothing. Like, that's ridiculously, it's seriously low hours. But, yeah, high quality, huh? John Deere. Psh, take my Husqvarna over this any day. Can you guys see that? I don't know if I can get a good, this wheel. You see that? See that groove in that axle? That groove is not supposed to be there. Why would you make an axle that's softer material than the bushing? Anybody? Does anyone think that that makes any sense? Why would you have a replaceable part be harder material than what it's supposed to be wearing on? These engineers, like, seriously. You know what? Unless that freaking axle is cheaper than these bushings, brother, this is going to be one happy customer. Alright guys, last video for the night. I'm packing it in, tidy up the shop, and have a shower and wash my hands and all that crap. So that's what we ended up with. So wow, would you look at that? That is some serious wear on that shaft. Man, is that not something? Okay, so there's no, no doubt the guy that owns this should have been greasing those axles. And I can't fault a part for wearing out when you just don't grease it. But that being said, why would the axle shaft wear before the bushing wears? Why would it? Just doesn't make any sense to me. So this part here, I haven't priced it yet, but it's guaranteed to be more expensive than a bushing. Why would the bushing not be a softer material than your axle? It makes no sense to me. I'm not an engineer, but man, somebody tell me why you would have a part like this wear before you'd have the damn bushing wear. It's just stupidity. Anyway, I'm not gonna buy new ones. I'm gonna build them up with weld and then take them down. I got a friend down the road that has a really good lathe, so we'll just chuck it up, build it up with weld and chuck it up, and then take it down to match the bushing that was in there. I'm gonna take the bushings back and save the guy a couple bucks. Well, 50 or 60 bucks to be exact, and I'll just build up the shaft to match the existing bushings. On to the next thing, which pretty much I'm hoping this is the last. Otherwise, this guy's going to be owing me the mower instead of, just the repair. 1, 2, 3. 3 blade shafts, 3 spindle shafts. Every one of them. That one over there, the bearings are almost completely seized. I can barely turn the blades. I cut a little bit of my grass with it before I brought it in the shop. I knew it was noisy and vibrating like crazy, but wow, I'm amazed I actually didn't burn the belt right off. I can barely turn the darn thing. I'm just hoping it hasn't damaged the housing. If it damaged the housing in there, then there's a bigger problem. But generally, the bearing doesn't spin. What happens is the bearing packs it in and overheats, and the ball bearings fall out, or just falls to pieces. So I'm going to hope for the best on that, or I'm going to have to, depending on the price of those spindles, either I'd have to bore out that spindle and put an oversized OD, oversized race with the same size ID for the shaft, for the your blade shaft. Wait and see. It is what it is. It's no big deal. It's just take stuff apart, repair, put it back together. That's the way it goes. I will say one thing about these John Deere decks. Wow, that is a heavy freaking deck. My Husqvarna deck is nowhere near that heavy. This thing got to be 150 pounds, close to 200 pounds. That is a heavy deck. The middle bearing for the middle blade was the only one that actually seemed reasonable enough to get by, but I'm not in the habit of doing things half-assed for people. If they want half-assed, they can do it themselves, or they can take it to a different shop. I don't do work like that. So what we got is, naturally I'm not going to buy these bearings from John Deere, because I would expect that these bearings from John Deere are probably going to run close to 20 bucks a piece. I'll price them out, but I'd say probably close to 20 bucks a piece. We got a local place in Porterville Prairie, about 25 kilometers east of me here, that sells bearings, and I can have these bearings for probably 5 or 6 bucks a piece. So you'd have 5 to 12 times 3 is 36. Be in and done with taxes under 50 bucks for all the bearings. So yeah, these were the second worst ones, and they had a lot of wobble in them and a lot of grinding noise inside. Now that I've got them apart and I just wire wheeled them, what I ended up doing was forcing grease down inside them. So you can't really tell how bad they were. When you kind of wire wheel and clean them up, you're pushing grease back down inside there. So not really a great indicator right now, but anyway, take my word for it. They are no good. So that's it for tonight, guys. I'm gonna flagpole's almost done. Gotta put a coat at the end, coat down there, but that's a different video series. That's the flagpole video series. And it's coming along. I did a coat on that today when I got home from work. But Herman's got a fire, and I'm going to go enjoy the fire, and I've not eaten anything today, so I'm freaking starving. Eaten. Well, I had toast and I had 2 bananas. Sorry, not toast, I had coffee and 2 bananas, but that's not enough to keep me rolling. So anyway, I'm signing off. So everyone have a good night, and enjoy your, is it still spring? Early summer? No, let's say enjoy your spring, summer. Good night, guys.